Nobody remembered the house being built. It just appeared one fog-soaked Tuesday at the edge of Coldwater Lane, where the field used to be, where children once played baseball, where teenagers smoked behind bushes, where nothing had stood for decades but grass and ghosts. Now there was a house, not modern, not quite old, somewhere in between, like it had been plucked from a memory nobody owned. 2 stories, white with black shutters. Front door slightly ajar. A porch that creaked before the wind even touched it. Nobody saw trucks, or movers, or contractors. No one had seen anyone move in, but the lights were on. Amanda Kerr was the first to notice. She walked her dog past that lot every day. Daisy, a golden retriever, would normally pull toward the trees, eager to chase birds or roll in the dirt. But this morning, Daisy stopped dead in the road, growled low, and refused to move forward. Amanda followed the dog's gaze and saw it. The house, standing like it had always been there. Her first thought wasn't fear. It was confusion. Had she somehow forgotten it? Had it been built overnight? But that was impossible. And yet, there it stood, unapologetically real. The front door swung inward, just a few inches, as if it were inviting her. That night, she dreamed of it. She stood in front of the house in her pajamas, barefoot on wet grass. The sky above her turned black and red, cloudless and endless. The house whispered, not words, but sounds like breathing through wood. The windows were dark, but something inside moved. Then the door opened wider. She stepped inside. The moment her foot hit the threshold, she felt the house smile. She woke up gasping, and Daisy was gone. The next day, Amanda filed a missing pet report. The officer at the desk looked tired. His name tag said Sanders. He didn't ask many questions, just handed her a form and said, "We've had 3 more go missing this week." "Dogs?" Amanda asked. "Dogs. Cats. A kid's rabbit. One old man, too." Sanders looked up at her. "You live near Coldwater?" She nodded. He didn't speak after that. She passed the house again on her way home. The door was closed now, but the curtains twitched, and a voice, soft as moss, curled into her ear. "You came inside. You never left." The next morning, Amanda returned to the empty lot with a camera. Not because she wanted proof, because she needed to be wrong. Maybe it was a hallucination, a dream that bled into waking. Maybe grief was messing with her. Daisy had never run off before, but people snapped for less. She parked across the street and stared through the windshield. The house was there, plain as day, unbothered by the rain that had started to fall, untouched by mud, its siding pristine. No address numbers, no mailbox, just shutters and a roof and that door. Closed again, but somehow still breathing. Amanda stepped out of the car, camera in hand. Every instinct said to leave. But that's how people vanish, isn't it? They follow something small, harmless, a voice, a light, a door. She took 3 pictures from the street. Nothing unusual. Zoomed in. Click. Closer still. Click. When she looked at the preview screen, her stomach dropped. The house wasn't in any of the pictures. The trees behind it, the sidewalk, even a squirrel on the porch rail, all there. But the house, gone. Just there, like it had never existed. She lowered the camera. The house was still there, physically, right in front of her. The porch lamp flicked on, then off, then on again. In Morse code. She didn't know Morse, but she knew a pattern when she saw one. Come inside. That night, she had another dream. She was younger in this one, maybe 8, standing in the hallway of a house she didn't recognize. The walls were warped too long. The doors didn't lead to rooms, just other hallways. Endless ones. All smelled like mildew and cinnamon. She turned one corner and found her father, but not as she remembered him. He was wearing his funeral suit. His skin had the texture of old wallpaper. He looked at her with eyes too small. "You never left the house, Mandy," he said, voice gurgling like water in pipes. She opened her mouth to scream, but her lungs were full of dirt. She woke at 3:13 a.m., the classic hour. Rain tapped against her window. Downstairs, the doorbell rang. Once, twice, 3 times. Amanda sat up in bed, waited. Then from outside, a voice she hadn't heard in years. Daisy's home. Amanda froze at the top of the stairs. The voice had been clear, familiar, a perfect match. But Daisy was a dog. She didn't speak. She stood there for a moment, heart pounding in her neck. The hallway behind her felt longer than it had when she woke. Shadows stretched toward her feet. The doorbell didn't ring again, but something scratched at the wood. Not the frantic pawing of a lost animal. A slow, deliberate scrape. Back and forth, like nails or bone. She grabbed the old aluminum bat from the coat closet and stepped down slowly. Each stair creaked, loud in the stillness. The scratching stopped. When she reached the door, she peeked through the peephole. No one there, just the street, the house across the road, and the white house at the edge of the field, its porch light still flickering like a signal only Amanda could see. She almost walked away, almost went back to bed. But something inside her, not curiosity, something worse, made her open the door. Just a crack. The wind rushed in, cold and sour. No one on the porch. Only a small object at the doormat. A red collar. Frayed. Bloodstained. The tag read, Daisy. Amanda dropped the bat. Stepped outside. Her voice broke in her throat. Daisy. The wind answered. Soft, distant. You're almost back. She brought the collar inside. Wrapped in a towel. Put on the kitchen table. She didn't sleep. At dawn, she drove back to the empty lot. She parked, shaking, and the house was gone. Just grass, dirt, a black patch where the foundation had been. No footprints, no porch, no trace. Amanda stepped out of the car anyway, and noticed something sticking out of the dirt. She dug it out slowly with her hands. A photograph. Old, water-warped. It showed her, 10 years old, standing on a porch she didn't recognize, smiling. And beside her, a man with no face. Just blank skin. Behind them, the house. The same house. Same windows. Same shutters. Same door, half open. She turned the photo over. A message scrawled in fading ink. You came in years ago. You never left. Amanda didn't tell anyone. Not about the voice. Not the collar. Not the photo. She didn't know how to start that conversation. There's no hotline for haunted real estate. And besides, she wasn't entirely sure she was awake anymore. She kept the photo in her glove box. Every time she looked at it, something changed. Subtle things. The man's faceless head now had a mouth. Just a line stitched shut. Amanda in the photo had stopped smiling. Her eyes were darker, sharper. She was holding something, maybe a stuffed animal or a bone. She stopped checking it after that. The field where the house had been wasn't normal anymore. She visited again the next day, unable to stay away, like something in her spine pulled her toward it. And the grass was wrong. It grew backward, curling toward the dirt, like it was trying to rebury itself. The air felt thick, heavy. She crouched where the foundation had been and placed her palm on the earth. The soil was warm, and it hummed. A low, constant sound, just at the edge of hearing, like an engine idling beneath her skin. Then her hand began to sink. Not deep, but enough. Like the dirt was parting, inviting. She yanked her hand back and stood, and something moved beneath the soil. Fast, wide, as if a dozen arms were crawling just beneath the surface. That night, her phone rang. Unknown number. She didn't answer. The voicemail that followed lasted 6 minutes. She didn't listen to it all, just the beginning. A woman's voice whispering. You left the door open. We got out. Thank you, Amanda. Then a sound like something wet being dragged across tile. Then barking. From far, far away. Amanda tried to stay awake that night. She turned every light on, left the TV playing static. At 3:13 a.m., the power cut, and someone knocked. Not at the front door, but from inside the walls. She pressed her ear to the sheetrock in the hallway. Something whispered back, "Let us finish the house." Amanda didn't scream when she heard the knock inside the wall. She stood there, barefoot on cold tile, every muscle in her body screaming to run, but somehow frozen in place, as if the house itself was holding her still. The knocking came again, slower this time. Then it moved, shifting down the hallway wall one knock every few feet, like someone was walking behind the plaster, looking for a way in. She whispered, "Who's there?" The house answered, "The first guest." In the morning, sunlight returned, and the power flicked back on like nothing happened. All the clocks reset to 3:13. She checked her voicemail again. The 6-minute message was gone, deleted, replaced with a new one, only 3 seconds long. A girl's voice, barely audible. Find the blueprint. She didn't know why, but her first thought was the library. Coldwater's public library had stood for nearly a century. Longer than the gas station, longer than the town hall, longer than most of the town's memories. It smelled like old cedar and mildew, the kind of place that always seemed a little too quiet even when it was full. Amanda hadn't been in years. She went straight to the archives in the back. Dust-covered maps, property records, microfiche. It took 3 hours. She found nothing under her name, but she found something else. A file labeled Coldwater Lot Number 0. No name, no purchase record, no builder. But inside the file, a blueprint. Old, hand-drawn, fraying at the edges. A house. The same one. Same porch. Same layout. Same twisted hallway Amanda had dreamed about. She flipped the page, and the floor plan kept going. After the second floor, a stairwell led downward, then downward again, and again, 12 levels in total. Impossible. They reached beneath the foundation. Level 12 wasn't labeled with rooms, just one word scrawled across the final page. Feeding. Amanda looked up. An old woman was standing at the end of the aisle. She hadn't made a sound. White hair, pale yellow coat, eyes like wet stone. "I wouldn't go back there," the woman said, voice thin and shaking. Amanda folded the blueprint. "Back where?" The woman didn't blink. "Where you never left." Amanda rushed out of the library, blueprint tucked under her coat, heart pounding like a drum in fog. She didn't drive home. She drove back to the field. But the field was gone. The house was back, standing like it had never left. Porch light blinking, door half open, and this time she could see someone standing inside. The figure stood just beyond the threshold, motionless, faceless in the shadows. Amanda couldn't see eyes, but she felt them, watching her, knowing her. She stepped out of the car, hand clutching the blueprint. The air around the house had changed again, not just colder, thinner, like she was walking into a memory that had been played too many times, stretched at the edges. The grass didn't crunch under her boots. It whispered. Every step felt echoed, like she was stepping on her own footsteps from the past. The front door opened the rest of the way. The figure was gone. No sound, no wind. Amanda climbed the porch steps. Each one groaned beneath her like it remembered her weight. She crossed the threshold. The temperature dropped instantly. The air smelled like rust, wet dirt, and something sweet underneath, like flowers left too long in a vase. The hallway was exactly as she remembered from her dream. Long, warped, wrong. She reached for her phone to use as a flashlight. It was already on. The screen showed a map. A blinking dot labeled "you," moving through rooms she hadn't entered yet. Room 1, the porch. Room 2, the welcome. Room 3, the door that shuts itself. Room 4, the room with no right angles. She hadn't stepped past the coat rack, but the map showed her already in room 5. Room 5, the mirror that remembers. She looked up. A tall mirror hung on the wall, where no mirror had been seconds before. She saw her reflection, except it wasn't today's Amanda. It was her at 8 years old, in pajamas, holding a stuffed rabbit with no eyes. The reflection smiled. Amanda didn't. Then her reflection stepped backward, vanishing into fog, and the mirror shattered, silently. Room 6, the stairwell. The map blinked. She turned the corner and found it. A staircase, steep and narrow, heading down. Impossible. She'd seen the outside of the house. It shouldn't fit this deep. But the blueprint in her coat confirmed it. 12 levels. She descended. The air thickened. Floor by floor, the wallpaper changed, from peeling floral to mold-covered felt to stitched leather. She passed doors she didn't dare open. Some whispered. Some knocked. One bled from the hinges. She reached level 7, room 23, the meal that never ends. She didn't go in, but the door opened anyway. Inside, a long table set for dozens. Rotten food, flies, candles still burning. A child sat at the head, chewing on something furry. It looked up. Its eyes were black pits. "You're late," it said. Amanda shut the door and ran. Level 10. She was crawling now. The staircase had crumbled. The hallway had teeth. Walls convulsed when touched. Voices hum in nursery, rhymes she didn't recognize, but somehow remembered. Down, down, down we go, where no light dares to grow. Step too far, forget your name. Bleed your joy and feed your shame. Level 11. The door didn't open. It inhaled, and Amanda was pulled inside. Darkness. Thick. Moving. She couldn't scream. Couldn't think. Then a single light clicked on, and she stood face to face with herself. Not a reflection. Not a dream. Another Amanda. Pale. Smiling. Wearing the same clothes, but wet, like she'd been pulled from a river. She whispered, "You went in once before. I stayed. Now it's your turn." Amanda's double stood perfectly still. The room around them pulsed with low, rhythmic sound, like a heartbeat echoing through the floor. No visible source of light, yet everything was dimly lit, the shadows thick but never fully swallowing anything. A humid mist hung in the air, carrying the scent of blood and violets. The other Amanda, what Amanda, cocked her head slightly, grinning with that unnatural calmness you only ever see in dreams right before they turn into nightmares. "You remember this place," she said. Amanda shook her head slowly. "No, I've never been here." What Amanda finished for her. "You have. You just never left." She stepped forward. Water dripped from her sleeves, each drop landing with too much weight, like tiny anvils striking the floor. "You stepped through the door when you were 8, playing in the field. You were angry. You wanted to run away." Amanda staggered back. A flash, buried deep, surfaced. Rain, screaming. A fight with her mother. Mud, a door in the grass. A voice that said, "Come in. You'll feel better here." "I was only gone an hour," she whispered. "No," what Amanda said. "You were gone for 4 days. And when you came out, you forgot." The mirror appeared again behind them. Amanda turned to face it. Her childhood bedroom, empty, dusty, and in the center, her younger self, curled in bed, asleep but twitching like something was inside her dreams, or trying to get out. Amanda stepped closer to the mirror, and something moved inside her chest. A pressure, a weight, then pain. Her ribs shifted. She dropped to her knees. From her throat, she coughed out a small object. Hard, covered in blood and string. She picked it up, shaking. It was a tooth. A child's tooth. One she hadn't had in her mouth for years. What Amanda smiled wider. "You bury that here," she said. "It's how we found you." Amanda ran. Through the door. Back into the hall. What Amanda's laughter followed her, sticky and sweet and hollow. The hallway was deeper now. No stairs. Just a slope. Room after room slid past as Amanda sprinted, walls flickering with images from her life. Her mother, weeping at a kitchen table. Her dog, Daisy, digging furiously at the floorboards. A photo of Amanda, age 13, her eyes scratched out. Room 44, the name that isn't yours. Amanda paused. The door whispered, "You remember your name wrong." It hissed. "You've been carrying a stranger's name since the field. Open us." She kept moving. She collapsed at room 50. The final door. No handle, just a phrase carved in rock. "Whatever you lost is waiting inside." She leaned in, heard a heartbeat, then a bark. Weak, muffled. "Daisy." She pushed. The wall resisted like skin, then gave way, and she fell through into pitch black. She hit the floor hard. The impact knocked the air from her lungs. The ground beneath her wasn't wood or tile. It was flesh. Warm, slightly pulsing. The room stank of old breath and damp velvet. Amanda gasped and pushed herself upright. Darkness surrounded her, but not complete. There were movements, shapes, slithering things just outside the edge of vision. She tried to listen for Daisy again, but all she heard was breathing. Not hers. Something deep, rhythmic, hungry. She stood. The room expanded around her, walls stretching away as if recoiling from her presence. Her footsteps made wet sounds. She touched the wall and pulled her hand back sticky. Then, a sound behind her. Click, click, drag. She spun. Nothing. Then a whisper inside her head. We never forgot you. Suddenly, lights clicked on. Dozens of hanging bulbs swayed from cords above, lighting an endless hall of doors, all identical. Wooden, rotten, each one labeled in black crayon with names. Not just names, hers. Amanda, age 8. Amanda, age 14. Amanda, the liar. Amanda who left. Amanda who let Daisy out. Amanda who came back. Amanda who never left. Each door pulsed softly like breathing lungs. The blueprint she'd folded in her coat crinkled. She pulled it out. The paper had changed. Instead of floor plans, it now showed a family tree. But all the branches were labeled with moments. Memories. And some had been scratched out. Others? Eaten away. She tried the first door. Locked. The second? Open. She stepped inside. Suddenly, she was 8 again. In her childhood kitchen. Her mother screamed into the phone, her back to Amanda. Amanda wanted to say something, to call out. But no sound came from her mouth. Then her younger self walked in from another room, holding a piece of paper. The drawing. The house. I saw it today, little Amanda said. It whispered to me. Her mother turned, eyes wide with fear. And just as Amanda reached out to stop it, the scene melted. Walls turned to steam. The kitchen warped into the hallway again, and a tooth dropped from Amanda's mouth. Another one. She clutched her face, looked at her hand. 3 missing. The house wasn't just showing memories. It was feeding on them. Every room she entered, she lost something. A voice boomed down the corridor now, deeper than speech. A voice in root and bone and mold. Give us the right one. Give us the one you buried. Amanda stumbled backward. More doors opened ahead. She ran, ignoring the names, past younger selves, older selves, better selves, all lost to her now. Finally, a door with no name. Just a tag. The dog. She burst through. A tiny, windowless space. On the floor, a mound of fur. Daisy, still breathing. Weak, but alive. Amanda dropped to her knees, sobbing. Wrapped her arms around the dog. She felt ribs. Bones. But she was here. She was real. Daisy lifted her head and licked Amanda's cheek. Then something creaked behind her. A mirror. Amanda looked and saw the house reflected in full. Alive. Beating. Pulsing with stolen lives. Behind it, the field, and a girl running toward it. Small. Barefoot. 8 years old. Amanda's reflection smiled and said, "Go get her." The girl in the mirror kept running. She wasn't running towards safety. She was running into the house. The same house Amanda had entered. The one Amanda had spent days, maybe years, trying to escape. Except in the mirror, it still stood in a wide, open field under a darkening sky. No fog. No town. No time. The girl's hair bounced as she sprinted, her face blurred, not by speed, but by forgetting. Like her identity had been washed away. Amanda knew who she was. The younger version of herself. The one who stepped through the door and never really came back. The one who stayed. Daisy let out a soft whine behind her, pressing close. Amanda looked back down at her. The dog's fur was patchy, her eyes glassy, but she was still wagging her tail, slow and steady, like a metronome trying to keep Amanda rooted in place. Amanda whispered, "I found you." Daisy licked her hand. And then something changed in the mirror. The girl stopped running. She turned, looked straight at Amanda. The mirror cracked. Just once, a fine line splitting the middle of the glass. And through it, Amanda heard a voice. One of us has to come back. One has to stay. The mirror wasn't just a window. It was a door. And Amanda knew what it wanted. Trade. If she wanted to pull that girl, that self, out of the memory, out of the loop, out of the trap the house had made. Someone had to take her place inside. She reached out. The glass rippled beneath her fingers. Cold, elastic, and then warm. The hum began again, low and sweet and awful. The hum of the house. She turned to Daisy. Go. The dog looked up, shook her head. Amanda smiled bitterly. Yeah, didn't think so. She stepped into the mirror. Everything changed. She was in the field, 8 years old again. She could feel the loose tooth in her mouth, the old stuffed rabbit in her arm. The sky above her was that same bruised purple she remembered. Too quiet, too wide. And in front of her, the house, waiting, door wide open, just like before. But now, Amanda stood in two places. She was herself, adult and aware, and she was that child, walking unknowingly toward her own unraveling. She had to reach her. She ran, faster than she'd ever run in her life. The grass tried to hold her ankles. Voices in the wind whispered false names. Emily, Jade, you're not real. She was better, but Amanda kept going. And just as the younger version of herself reached the threshold of the house, Amanda grabbed her arm. The girl turned, eyes wide, scared. Amanda said, "We're going home," and pulled. The sky shattered like glass. The field folded in on itself. The house screamed, not with wood or walls, but with loss. Because the one thing it fed on, the one thing it counted on, was that the child would stay. And Amanda had ruined that. She woke up gasping, back in her own bed, sunlight in the window. Daisy curled up beside her. The photo on the nightstand was different now. It showed her as a child, standing outside the house, smiling. And the man beside her, gone. For the first time in days, or weeks, or years, Amanda breathed without dread. No whispers in the walls. No flickering lights. No dreams. She sat on the floor beside her bed, Daisy resting her head in Amanda's lap. The dog still felt thinner than she should, but warm. Present. Alive. Amanda touched the photo again. The new version. Same house. Same field. Same child, her. But standing outside the house, not on the porch. And the face of the man who'd stood beside her before? Gone. Completely. Not blurred. Not scratched. Erased. She carried the photo into the kitchen, set it down, and opened her laptop. Searched. Coldwater Lane house disappearance. No results. Then, house on field, memory loss, Coldwater. Still nothing. But when she searched the house I left behind, a page appeared. A blog. Simple layout. Black background. White serif font. Title. The one IT couldn't keep. The author had no name. Just a date. 3 years ago. Amanda clicked. I was 7. I went inside a house that wasn't supposed to be there. My parents thought I was gone for 2 hours. I was gone for 5 days. When I came back, I had bruises in the shape of numbers. My baby teeth were missing. Not loose, gone. Amanda's blood ran cold. She scrolled down. Every town has one. The house shows up to the ones who are ready to forget something or someone. It's never the same shape twice, but it always hums. It only keeps the ones who don't turn around. She checked the comments. There were hundreds. People from other towns, other countries, different names, same house, same rules. Amanda logged off, went outside. The field at the end of Coldwater Lane was still there, but flat now, unbroken. The house was gone, again, but something had changed deep beneath the dirt. She could feel it, a presence, still watching, still waiting, but weakened. It had let her go, not by choice, because it had to. It had rules, old ones, and Amanda had found a way to break them. That night, Amanda dreamed again, but this time she stood outside the house. Behind her, dozens of people, some with stitched mouths, some holding pieces of paper, some missing teeth, watching from the tree line. A voice echoed from inside the porch. You brought her back. You shouldn't have. Amanda stepped forward, unafraid. I remember everything now. The house groaned. Walls cracking. Roof sagging. Then you know what's still down here. Amanda nodded. I'm coming for them next. The field had gone quiet. No wind. No insects, just stillness. But Amanda knew the house was still there, somewhere deeper now. Hidden, maybe buried, maybe just folded behind reality like a page dog-eared in a book nobody wanted to finish. She walked the perimeter every morning. Daisy followed. Each lap felt different. Longer. The sun overhead seemed stuck. Not rising, not setting, just watching. On the fourth morning, Amanda found something new. A sock. Small. Child size. Tied to a stick like a flag. Pinned into the dirt. She knelt beside it, heart pounding. On the fabric, written in marker. I'm still in here. Please don't forget me. Tommy. Amanda didn't know a Tommy. But the house did. It was calling again. Not to her. To someone else. She brought the sock home, wrapped it in paper, set it beside Daisy's collar on the kitchen table. Later that night, she heard the scratching again, from inside the walls. But this time, no whispers, just the sound of something crying. The next day, Amanda did something she hadn't done in months. She knocked on someone else's door. Maya Tran lived 2 blocks away. She was the kind of woman who'd built her life out of routines. 5:30 runs, 7 o'clock coffee, 8:15 office chair. Amanda remembered her vaguely from the neighborhood. Kind, quiet, always polite. When Maya opened the door, Amanda didn't ask about the house. She said, "Have you ever lost time?" Maya's expression cracked. Just a little. Then she stepped aside and said, "Come in." Her living room was spotless, except for one wall. It was covered in drawings. Dozens. Hundreds. All the same thing. A house. Different shapes. Different angles. Same energy. Some of them were burned around the edges. Others bled ink. One showed a man climbing through the floor, smiling as if he knew a secret nobody else ever would. "I saw it when I was 10, Maya said. "I never told anyone. My mom said I had a seizure. Said I was only gone for an hour." Amanda showed her the blueprint. Maya didn't even flinch. "I've been seeing it in dreams," she whispered. "All 12 floors. I think I remember where the door is." That night, Amanda dreamed of Tommy. A boy in a striped shirt, maybe 7 years old, trapped inside a room made of teeth. He was coloring, using crayons made of bone. He looked up and said, "You found my flag. That means you can come get me." Then he held up his drawing. It was a picture of Amanda, smiling, with no eyes. She woke up screaming. Daisy barked, and across the room, Maya sat on the floor, drawing in a notebook. "I know where the next opening will be," she said calmly. Amanda stared at her. Maya didn't look up. "They never take just one of us." The opening was in the old church basement. Of course it was. The building hadn't been used in over a decade. The town called it condemned, but the door was never boarded. The stained glass windows were still intact, though dull. Their colors faded like memory left in the sun too long. Maya said she saw it in a dream. 3 steps past the altar, right where the floor dips. Amanda didn't argue. They waited until dusk. Daisy came too, trailing behind Amanda like a shadow, stitched to her heels. She didn't growl. She didn't bark. But the way she stared at the church, head low, tail stiff, told Amanda everything she needed to know. The house had moved its entrance. Inside, it was colder than it should have been. Not just from age. The air felt held, as if the walls didn't breathe. They walked in silence, footsteps echoing off stone and dust. The altar was cracked. A single pew lay on its side, like someone had thrown it. Amanda stepped forward. The floor groaned. Right there, 3 steps in. She knelt, pressed her hand to the wood. It pulsed. Once. Then again. Beneath the floorboards, a hum. Maya opened her sketchbook, flipped to a blank page, and without looking, her hand began to draw. Black lines. Fast. Unnatural. Amanda watched, heart pounding. In 30 seconds, the page showed a spiral staircase made of bone and wire, descending into a mouth-shaped tunnel. The floor beneath them cracked, splintered in a circle, and began to sink. Amanda grabbed Maya. Daisy howled. Then the floor swallowed them whole. They fell for what felt like hours. Not through air, through static, like tumbling through radio signals and forgotten thoughts. When they landed, the ground was soft, mushy, covered in wet moss and crushed paper. Amanda stood up, dizzy. They were in a library, not a real one. The shelves were too tall. The books had no spines. The titles were etched into teeth embedded in the covers. A sign above the nearest aisle. Section 7, The Lost Children. Daisy growled. Amanda turned. At the far end of the aisle, someone was standing. Short. Still. A striped shirt. Tommy. He smiled and waved. Then ran. Amanda! Maya shouted. Look! On the wall behind them, something moved. A shadow. Not shaped like a person. Not shaped like anything that should stand upright. It hissed. Not like a snake. Like a leaking pipe full of screams. The lights overhead flickered. Pages ripped from books without hands. And all down the aisle, the bookshelves began to whisper. You brought another. 2 for 1. 2 for 1. Amanda grabbed Maya's hand. Come on. They ran down the corridor, following Tommy's path, books fluttering off shelves as if warning them away. Tommy turned another corner and vanished. Amanda slid to a stop. There was no hallway ahead, only a mirror. Her reflection was gone. Maya's was there, but younger, much younger, bleeding from the mouth, holding a door open behind her. And from that open door, the house. Its porch, its humming heart, calling them home. Amanda stared into the mirror. Her own reflection wasn't there, but Maya's was, younger, hollow-eyed, mouth stuffed with cloth, as if someone had tried to silence her for birth. The younger Maya stood in a hallway Amanda didn't recognize. Pale wallpaper, no floor, just water. Then the door behind her slammed shut. The mirror shattered inward. A gust of freezing air hit Amanda in the face. Books flew from shelves behind them. The smell of rotted dreams, sour and electric, filled the library. Something was coming. Not footsteps. Wet dragging. Maya pulled Amanda by the wrist. That's not my memory. It's what it made for me. What is it? Amanda yelled. Maya's eyes burned. It's how it keeps us here. They ran. Shelves collapsed behind them. Daisy barked once, then launched into the dark, biting at something neither of them could see. A gurgling screech followed, and the books began screaming. They burst through a crooked doorway and slammed it behind them. Silence. The room was circular. Stone walls. A ceiling that arched up endlessly into fog. In the center, a spiral staircase leading down. Always down. Amanda looked at Maya. What now? Maya didn't speak. She pointed to the wall. A mural had formed where none had been before. It showed Amanda and Maya, stylized in chalky, childish scrawl, holding hands. Behind them, 100 faces. Empty-eyed, hollow. Some young, some old, some melting. Above them, the house sprouting legs, wearing a crown made of memories. Below them, a mouth wide and waiting. We're not in rooms anymore, Maya said quietly. We're in its throat. Amanda touched the mural. Her fingers left ink. It dripped. The floor vibrated. The staircase began to collapse. Amanda jumped first. The stairwell fell apart behind her. She landed on something soft. Carpet? No. Fur. She looked down. Dozens of stuffed animals lined the floor, all facing the same direction. At the center of the room, a child's bed, faded rocket ship sheets, a half-eaten sandwich on a tray, and on the wall, scrawled in dozens of colors. I was good. I was good. I was good. And sitting on the bed, swinging his feet. Tommy. He didn't look up. I knew you'd come, he said. Amanda approached slowly. Tommy, we're here to get you out. He pointed at the floor. She doesn't like that. Who? The house. Behind them, the door began to close on its own. Maya tried to stop it, but it shut with a clap, sealing them in. Amanda turned back. Tommy looked up finally. His eyes were sewn shut, not with thread, with hair, and he smiled. She said we can trade. She said you have more memories than I do. Tommy didn't move. His sewn eyes twitched beneath the hair thread. Amanda stepped back, whispering, What did she do to you? She said I could come out, Tommy said, but only if you trade something. He reached under the bed, pulled out a box, opened it. Inside, Amanda's memories. She saw them, somehow not photographs, not tapes, just moments, pulsing like fireflies inside glass marbles. One glowed brighter than the rest. She touched it. Her father's voice, reading her where the wild things are in a hospital room. She jerked her hand back. No. Tommy tilted his head. She wants the important ones, not the little stuff. The warm ones. The ones you think about when it's raining. The ones that keep you from going back. Amanda's knees wobbled. Maya grabbed her shoulder. Don't. But it was already happening. One of the marbles cracked. Amanda felt it vanish from her, like a string cut inside her chest. A hole. Cold. Sudden. She blinked. Tried to remember what she just lost. Couldn't. The warmth was gone, and Tommy smiled wider. Tommy stood. His feet didn't touch the floor anymore. The stuffed animals turned their heads toward him. The wallpaper peeled upward like it was trying to flee. More, Tommy said. The room tilted. Amanda stumbled, grabbed Maya. Daisy barked again, louder than before, louder than seemed possible from a dog her size. And the sound did something. Tommy winced. His stitched eyes wept black sap. Maya yelled, "He's not real." Amanda hesitated. She looked around the room. Noticed something. Every toy, every object, even the bed, had a tag. Property of the Echo. She whispered, "This isn't his room." The walls hissed. The door behind them exploded open, and a voice rushed in, ancient, echoing, not human at all. You try to fix what was meant to rot. The fireflies in the box blinked out, one by one. Tommy floated backward, swallowed by a shadow in the corner that opened like a wound. Amanda screamed, reached out. Too late. He was gone. The room collapsed. Floorboards twisted like rope. Amanda, Maya, and Daisy ran, not towards safety, just away. Away from the sound of swallowing. Away from the grief echoing in the walls. They passed through a corridor lined with mirrors. Each one showed a version of themselves that had stayed behind. Maya in a padded cell. Amanda wandering a fogged forest, fingers bloody. Daisy in a cage of mirrors, barking endlessly with no sound. Amanda shouted, "Keep your eyes forward." They reached a door. It looked normal. Safe. The kind you might find in a school hallway. A sign above it. Exit. Amanda pushed it open. Behind it, the house again. Waiting, but not at ground level. They stood above it now, on a balcony of bone and window frames, looking down into its core. And inside the core, dozens of floating children. Some asleep, some crying. One looked up. Tommy, still sewn shut, still smiling. He mouthed something. Amanda couldn't hear it, but she knew. You came too late. Amanda stared down into the heart of the house. The floating children didn't move normally. They twitched, spun slowly, as if suspended in syrup. Tommy drifted just beneath the surface of it all, like he was almost free, almost real. His lips moved again, and this time Amanda heard the words as if inside her skull. One more door. She turned to Maya, who stood frozen. Her eyes were locked on one of the other children. A girl. Small. Hair in uneven braids. A stuffed bear clutched to her chest. "Amanda," Maya whispered, "that's me." She stepped forward, and the balcony lurched. The structure wasn't stone. It was made of hands. Grasping hands, holding everything in place. And now they were letting go. Daisy barked. Then something behind them screamed. Not human. Not anything natural. The house had noticed them again. Amanda grabbed Maya's arm. They ran. Down a spiral ramp. Bones clicking beneath their boots. Stained glass teeth lighting the way. And as they descended, they heard it. Knocking. From every wall. Every door. Every mirror they passed. "We remember you. We fed on you. We want you back." The ramp ended in a cavern. Not carved by tools, but by memory and erosion. Cracked childhood drawings littered the floor. Paper dolls hung from the ceiling, their faces drawn with tears. At the far end, a throne made of toy parts and cribs. On it, sitting perfectly still, was a child wearing a bear mask. The mask wasn't cute. It was old, stitched leather, no eye holes. But the child saw them anyway. "You came back," the bear mask said in a voice that echoed 3 layers behind reality. "Who are you?" Amanda asked. The child laughed softly. "The first, the one that built it. You made the house. I let it in." They stood in silence, as the child tilted her head. I was the first one they forgot. That made me queen. The longer they forget you, the more real you become in here. You gave up memories. That means the house likes you. Amanda stepped forward. I want the children. All of them. Let them go. The child's voice dropped to a growl. You don't get to take them. Not without giving back something real. Behind her, a door appeared. Tall, black, bleeding light. Maya stepped closer. Amanda, your name's on it. And it was etched in bark and bone. Amanda. Beneath it, the phrase, the room that was always yours. She stepped inside. Alone. The door slammed shut. And she was home. Her old bedroom. The one from childhood. Exactly as it had been. Same posters. Same ceiling glow stars. Same scratch on the dresser where she'd hidden her music box. But the windows showed nothing. Just fog. She sat on the bed. The room pulsed once. Then she saw them. All her lost memories. Sitting in a circle around her. Each in a chair. Each wearing her face. Each holding something she'd forgotten. A birthday cake, a sunset, her mother's laugh, Daisy's first night in the house. They stared at her, silent, and in unison, they said, choose one to keep. The rest will go. She began to cry. No, I brought you back. You never really did, one said. You only peeled open the door. But doors are hungry, and they charge rent. Amanda stood, shaking, walked the circle, paused behind the one holding Daisy. She placed her hand on the memory's shoulder. This one, the rest vanished, gone, pulled into the walls. And from far below, the house groaned. As if choking, Amanda turned back toward the door. It was open, and on the other side, Maya, crying, holding the little girl in the bear mask. Unmasked now, just a kid. Amanda had been back a week. The field was quiet. The house hadn't returned. The dreams had stopped, but something was still wrong. Maya had started sleeping with the lights on. Daisy barked at corners again. And Amanda's phone, wiped completely, somehow, now restarted every night at 3:13 a.m. Worse, cold water had changed. Barely, but enough. The grocery store had new owners, but Amanda remembered Mrs. Ellison running it. Nobody else did. The high school now bore a different name, Sloan Memorial. Amanda had gone to Coldwater High, gone through every yearbook. Her photo, not in any of them. She asked Maya, do you remember me from high school? Maya stared blankly for a second too long. I do now. The more Amanda pulled at the thread, the more it unraveled. Old newspaper archives were blank. People crossed the street when she walked near. And children? They stared at her like they knew something. One girl, maybe 7, whispered as Amanda passed. She got out. She remembers. The house hadn't vanished. It had just changed shape. Amanda found a registry in the basement of the town hall. It shouldn't have been there. The door was marked mop closet. Inside, a spiral staircase leading down, made of file cabinets. Cobwebs hung like lace. The air was heavy with dust and mildew. At the bottom, a wide vault. Rows of drawers labeled. Hollowed. Fractured. Unreturned. Returned. Unsorted. Amanda opened one. Inside, folders. Old. Yellowed. Photos of children she didn't recognize. Then, a photo of herself, age 9. Notes scribbled around the edges. Partial extraction. Unreliable recall. Still visible in memory web, Class B disturbance. Another folder. Maya. Status. Recovered artifact. Sketch recall. Stabilizing. Another. Tommy. Status. Returned body. Memory fragment rejected. Entity replication likely. Amanda backed away. Something was cataloging them. Something knew when people escaped the house. And something wanted to put them back. Footsteps echoed above. Not down the stairwell. From inside the registry. She ran, slamming drawers as she passed, scattering files. She didn't look back. The whispers rose again. Sort yourself. Belong to us. You can't keep all of you. That night, Amanda dreamed of the house again. But this time it was alive. Not a structure. A thing. Sitting atop Coldwater like a spider on its web. Long legs bent over rooftops. Windows blinking like eyes. Its mouth, the front door, stretched wide in the fog, breathing in dreams. And at its center, the weaver. She wasn't old. She wasn't young. She wore a veil made of chewed paper, and she whispered as she spun. Every forgetting has a cost. Every memory is a stitch. You unstitched too many, so now I will unmake you. Amanda woke screaming. On the wall of her room, a web, made of hair, and in its center, tied with ribbon, was a baby tooth. Not Daisy's. Hers. Amanda took the baby tooth to Maya. She didn't say anything at first, just unwrapped it from the red ribbon and set on the kitchen table between them. Maya stared at it for a full minute, then said softly, "They're starting to replant." Replant what? The memories we gave up, but wrong, grown in the dark, stitched with lies. Amanda sat back, like Tommy, or worse. She handed Amanda a piece of paper. Drawn in thick charcoal was a diagram of Coldwater. Underneath it, a skeleton. The bones were shaped like a city grid. Every building, every house, every mind. All of Coldwater, Maya whispered, is the house. That night, Amanda walked the streets. She passed the pharmacy, the diner, the church. Each place looked normal, but it wasn't. Every street lamp flickered at the same moment. Every stop sign hummed when she passed it. And the man sweeping in front of the ice cream shop, his reflection in the window wasn't sweeping. It was watching her and smiling. She ended up at the edge of town, where Coldwater used to end. There was a chain-link fence now. Behind it, the woods, tall, black, and breathing. Amanda leaned close, listened. From deep inside the trees, she heard a voice like her own say, "I'm still in here." Maya said the mayor knew. You don't get a town like this by accident. Amanda broke in at night. The town hall was dark, silent except for the creaking floorboards and the rhythmic click of a grandfather clock in the lobby. She descended into the basement with a flashlight and a tire iron. Found a locked door marked Reclamation Vault. She broke the lock. Inside, a single room lined with boxes and jars. Some were labeled with names, others with years. Amanda opened one marked Class A, Harper's. Inside, bones. Not full skeletons, just teeth and eyes, still blinking. She slammed it shut. The jars began to whisper. She's seen too much. Take her back. Start the spiral. Then a voice, human, graveled, familiar. The mayor, standing in the doorway. You should have let the house have you the first time. Amanda raised the tire iron. The mayor stepped aside. I'm not the enemy, he said. I'm the gatekeeper. If I fall, there's no line left. Amanda glared, then opened the vault and let them out. He shook his head. They'll eat everything. Amanda raised the tire iron again. This time, he didn't stop her. Maya found the record later. A film reel hidden behind the post office wall. Marked only Coldwater before. They played it on her dad's old projector in the garage. It flickered, black and white. Children playing. A fountain in the town square. People smiling, waving. Then the tape stuttered. The footage jumped, and the house appeared, right behind the fountain. No construction, no trucks, just there. And every person on screen stopped, turned toward the house, and smiled with mouths far too wide. The tape looped endlessly. Amanda sat in the dark, watching, whispering to herself, if we can find the first stitch, maybe we can undo it. Maya asked, and what if we can't? Amanda's eyes were locked on a frame of the house, its porch door ajar, a figure standing in shadow. I think we already did. She paused the tape, zoomed in. The figure in shadow? Amanda, but older, smiling, and holding a mirror. Amanda stood in Maya's garage, staring at the frozen image on the wall, her older self inside the house, holding the mirror. A loop, a trap, a warning? She didn't know, but she knew what had to come next. We need to break the core, she said. Maya frowned. Ow! Amanda opened a small tin she'd brought with her. Inside, 12 glass marbles, each glowing faintly. Memories. Stolen. Recovered. Salvaged from the registry vault. She'd gone back, after the mayor fled. Took what she could carry. These are pure, from the before. Maya understood instantly. If we plant them in the house, They'll collapse it from the inside, or wake something worse. Amanda smiled grimly. Let's find out. They made a list. Names from the files. Children who had been taken and returned. Adults who'd lost time. Dreamers. Walkers. Sleep talkers. Amanda found 6. 3 remembered her instantly. The others cried when she told them what they'd lost. None of them argued. They met in the woods. Each brought something the house had touched. Old teeth, dog collars, sketchbooks, blankets that hummed when touched. Daisy stood at the center, tail high, as if guarding a ritual she didn't understand, but believed in. Amanda gave each person a marble. Drop it when you reach the core. Maya handed out the map she'd drawn. The one she dreamed. It was incomplete, but it knew where the heart was. They returned to the church. The spiral floor was gone, replaced by a pulsing tunnel. No more illusion, just the raw, beating anatomy of the house. They stepped in together, and the house closed behind them. It took hours, or maybe minutes. Time stretched wrong in the house's veins. Each room whispered old lies, tried to trade, offered what could have been in exchange for what really happened. None of them listened. They held their marbles tight. When they reached the center, it looked like nothing. Just a child's playroom. Crayons, blocks, a phonograph playing muffled lullabies. But the walls were breathing, and the floor was a mouth. Amanda nodded. One by one, they stepped in. The room didn't fight. It swallowed them. And when they reached the bottom, they found the heart. It wasn't a thing. It was a person. The child in the bear mask. Older now. No mask. Her eyes were stitched shut with thread made from diary pages. Her mouth stitched with hair. Her hands tied behind her back. Amanda dropped her marble. So did the others. The child screamed, and the room shattered. The room exploded. Not with fire, with memory. The air splintered into pieces of childhood, spinning mobile stars, torn coloring books, the scent of hospital disinfectant. The scream that rose from the stitched girl's throat was muffled by threads, but echoed through the floor like a pulse of pure panic. Amanda shielded her eyes as the light cracked around her. Not sunlight, not artificial, but something older, raw recall, as if every forgotten thing in the house had been suddenly dragged, screaming, into the open. The marbles on the floor glowed brighter. Some burst. One by one, her group collapsed to their knees, not in pain, but in remembrance, their minds cracking open under the weight of what they'd left behind. A lost sibling's voice, a father's silence, a night they were supposed to forget. Maya screamed, loud, sharp. She clutched her head as a flood of images, drawn memories in fast forward, bled from her eyes like ink. Amanda didn't fall. Not this time. She walked forward, through the tremors, through the broken pieces of time, toward the girl in the center. The bear mask was gone. She looked maybe 14 now. Her mouth no longer stitched shut, but her eyes remained sealed. She turned toward Amanda, blood running down her chin. You shouldn't have come here, she rasped. Amanda knelt in front of her. I was always going to. The girl tilted her head. Then why do you look so afraid? Amanda reached in her coat and pulled out the final marble, the one she hadn't dropped. Inside it, a single moment spun slowly. Her mother, in the doorway, saying goodbye. Amanda had never remembered what her last words were. Now she saw them. Don't let the past tell you who you are. She held the marble out. This is the last one, Amanda said. The girl opened her mouth, not to speak, to bite. She swallowed the marble whole, and her body seized. Not violently, like a clock forced to tick forward after decades of silence. Her threads snapped. Her arms fell to her sides. The floor beneath them began to tear. And from below, something rose. The house itself was ascending. Its ribs, its lungs, the base of its throat, all rising from the pit like a cathedral being unearthed. The foundations bled steam, and with it, the faces of those it had taken, streaming upward, weeping, screaming, laughing. Some reached out for Amanda as they passed. Some just whispered her name. Maya stumbled beside her. Are we dying? Amanda shook her head. I don't think so. Then what is this? The part where it decides if we're real. Then came a sound, low, vibrating, carving through bone and thought. A deep, constant humming, the same that Amanda had heard when she first touched the dirt in the field. It was louder now, total. It came not from walls, not from air, but from inside her, from her memories, for the house inside her. Everyone who had gone inside, Amanda realized, still carried it with them. A seed, a sliver. And this place, this moment, it was trying to reclaim it, to fold the damage back into its core and seal the scar. Amanda wouldn't let it. She took Maya's hand, then the others. They formed a circle around the girl, and they sang, not a hymn, not a lullaby, just one note, one sustained sound, the tone of defiance. The house screamed, not from hate, from hunger denied. The room cracked open. Wind rushed through. The floor split, and the heart of the house, a pulsating knot of memory and fear and false time, ruptured, and Coldwater shuddered. Amanda woke on the floor of the church. The real church. Dusty, quiet, undisturbed. No spiral, no tunnel, no hum. Just her, Maya, Daisy, and a red marble in her hand. Inside it, the face of the stitched girl, smiling and vanishing. Coldwater didn't fall apart. It got quieter, more still. The streets looked the same, but the sounds had changed. Fewer birds, more wind. The sky above the fields stayed gray for days, like the sun had forgotten where to shine. Amanda and Maya didn't speak for a while after the church. They stayed inside, windows closed, lights dimmed, as if noise might wake something buried too shallow. But Amanda could feel it. Something under the town was stirring again. Not the house. Not exactly. The roots. It started small. Daisy refused to walk on the north side of Maple Street. She would stop dead and growl, her fur raised. Then came the dreams. Short ones. Shards. Amanda saw black tunnels where tree roots grew from the ceiling. Children with mouths full of loose teeth, chewing names. Maya said she dreamed of her old school. But all the lockers were mirrors, and everyone showed her from behind. Then the town map changed again. They saw it posted in the grocery store, a printed announcement from the city planning board. New subdivision proposal, Elm Hollow. Amanda stared. That wasn't a name. That was a room in the blueprint. Level 8, room 61. Elm Hollow, where echoes go to root. Amanda turned to Maya. They're not rebuilding Coldwater. Maya nodded slowly. They're letting it grow again. That night, Amanda went back to the field. Alone. The grass had grown tall. Too fast. Too thick. It swayed even without wind, as if reacting to her presence. At the center, where the house had once stood, the earth had split. Thin, like the first hint of a wound opening. She knelt. The soil pulsed once, and something long, white, and thin pushed upward. A tooth, the size of a femur. She backed away, but the tooth kept rising. And beneath it, something was breathing. Amanda ran, straight to the town records office. She broke in, again, went deeper this time, past the registry. Found a new door, metal, sealed, a keypad beside it. But the pad wasn't numbers. It was names. She typed her own. The door opened. Inside, a chamber with no ceiling. Just walls made of mirrors and bones. And in the center, a model of Coldwater, made entirely of teeth. Some long and yellowed. Some childlike. Some human. Some not. And carved into the base. Root system 4B. Coldwater seed complete. Next germination. Elm Hollow. Amanda stepped back. The floor blinked under her. A light scanned up her legs. A voice whispered from the walls. You left. You came back. That makes you a node. Amanda stumbled out of the chamber. Into the night. Maya was waiting by the car. Amanda held up a photo she'd ripped from the chamber wall. A blurry image of her entering the house as a child. On the back in ink. Root host. Maya asked, what does it mean? Amanda stared down the street. At the houses. At the sidewalk cracks. At the empty windows where curtains twitched without wind. She finally said, I think I'm the reason it survived. Amanda didn't sleep that night. Not because she couldn't, but because she knew what sleep would bring. Dreams. More than dreams. Instructions. She stood by the window, staring out at the town she'd grown up in, or thought she had. Every light on every porch now looked like a blinking eye. The roads curved subtly wrong, as if reshaping themselves around her. She whispered to no one, "How long has this place belonged to it?" Behind her, Daisy whined softly. Amanda turned. The dog was pacing in slow circles, something she only did during storms. But outside, the sky was clear. No clouds, no wind, just a presence. At dawn, Maya called her. "I can't find the others." "What others?" "The people who went in with us. Tommy's group." Amanda's heart dropped. Gone. Phone's dead. Houses empty. Amanda didn't hesitate. She drove. They checked every house, every known location. Nothing, except one message carved into the door of a garage. The roots took them back. Amanda pulled over on the edge of town. They sat on the hood of the car, staring at the water tower. Someone had painted a symbol there overnight, a spiral made of teeth. Amanda exhaled slowly. This town is a net. Maya looked over. For catching what? People like us. Survivors. No. Amanda looked down at her hands. Seeds. They went back to the field that night. Together. Amanda carried a backpack filled with mirrors. Each one had once belonged to a room in the house. Maya had gathered them from the walls. Broken, cursed, humming. Amanda had polished them all. She set them in a circle. 12 of them. Facing inward. And in the center, a small cassette player. She pressed play. Her own voice, recorded earlier that morning. To the house, to the roots, to the mouth that forgot how to close. "I see you. I see what you're trying to become. And I'm not letting you do it again." The mirrors began to hum. The grass inside the circle bent downward, as if bowing. And then the earth split. Wider this time. Amanda stood at the edge. Maya held her arm. A cold wind rose from the pit. Then a whisper. "You were never alone. We've always been inside." And the ground collapsed. Amanda and Maya fell through blackness. Not into the house. Into beneath the house. Where the roots were. They weren't wood. They were teeth. Hundreds of them. Miles long, curving, breathing, clicking in silence. Attached to nothing, feeding on everything. The space pulsed with memory. Amanda saw herself at 5, at 13, at 20, staring into an empty mirror. A voice echoed, not from above, not below, but from every nerve in her body. "You try to be whole again, but you left too much behind. So we filled you." Amanda dropped to her knees. "I'm not yours." The teeth clicked louder. A tremor ran through the floor. Maya fell. Amanda caught her. And as their hands touched, the sound stopped. All of it. Frozen. The roots trembled. And Amanda felt it. A fracture. A weakness. Together, they stood. From her pocket, Amanda pulled a shard of the first mirror she'd broken in the house. The one from room 5. The mirror that remembers. She held it up. The reflection didn't show them. It showed everyone the house had ever taken. And they were watching her. Waiting. The mirror began to crack again. And Amanda spoke. "Take me, not them." The mirror shattered. Light erupted. A scream tore through the roots. And the entire world tilted. Amanda woke in the field. Alone. The mirrors were gone. The pit was sealed. But carved in the soil was one word. Planted. Amanda walked home barefoot. The road was damp. The morning sky looked wrong. Too soft, too low, like a ceiling pressed just above the trees. Nothing moved. No cars. No wind. Just her. The words still echoed in her skull. Planted. She remembered the pit. The teeth. The mirror. She remembered choosing to stay. But she hadn't. She was back. Why? When she stepped into her house, Daisy ran to her. But stopped short. The dog stared up at Amanda, ears back, tail flat, and whimpered. Amanda knelt. "Hey, it's okay," she whispered. Daisy backed away. For the first time ever. In the mirror by the door, Amanda saw it. Her reflection blinked a second too late. Everything else looked right. Same eyes, same cut on her palm, same tangled hair. But the reflection didn't match her breath. Didn't follow every twitch. Amanda whispered, "You're not me." The reflection smiled. Only the reflection. She closed every blind in the house, turned off every light, sat in the dark with Daisy, who finally came close enough to rest against her side. The warmth of the dog was real, steady, familiar. Amanda whispered to her, "If something else came back with me, I need to know what it wants." She didn't sleep, but she dreamed anyway. A town without streets. A garden where all the flowers were teeth. A child standing in the center, holding a watering can filled with blood. The child looked up. Amanda saw her own face. Older, smiling, sewn shut at the mouth. And in the dream, the voice came back. "What you planted will bloom. Not in soil, in them." Amanda woke with a start. Checked the clock. 3:13 a.m. The digital numbers flickered briefly, then changed. She threw the clock across the room. That morning, she called Maya. No answer. Drove to her house. Door unlocked. Every light on. But no sign of Maya. Just dozens of new drawings scattered across the floor. Drawings of roots. Drawings of people turning into flowers. Petals with eyes. Stems with teeth. Maya's sketchbook sat open on the table. One phrase repeated over and over. She came back wrong. Amanda backed out slowly. Closed the door. And on the front step, she found a note. Folded neatly. No handwriting. Just one word burned into the paper. Bloom. As Amanda walked home, the sky finally broke. But it didn't rain. It bled. Thin streaks of crimson mist fell from the clouds, slow, silent. The trees bent toward it. The grass drank it. And all across Coldwater, flowers began to grow. In windowsills. In driveways. From cracks in the sidewalks. And every one of them had human teeth. By noon, the sky was pink. Not the gentle blush of sunset. This was raw, meaty, surgical. The kind of pink that made people look skin beneath it. Amanda stood in the middle of her street, staring at the flowers sprouting from every corner of Coldwater. No one else came outside. Not even a look. Because Amanda realized they didn't see it. She ran to the nearest house. Mrs. Kelman's place, 2 doors down. Amanda banged on the door until her knuckles split. Mrs. Kelman opened with a smile. "Morning, dear." Amanda pushed past her, stormed into the kitchen. The sink was overflowing with water. Floating in the basin, 4 tooth-petaled flowers. Their stems writhed like tails. Amanda turned back. "You don't see this?" Mrs. Kelman frowned. "What do you mean, dear?" "The flowers. The blood. The sky." Mrs. Kelman followed her gaze. "Oh, I just love the sunrise this time of year." Amanda left. Ran house to house. Same pattern. Smiling neighbors. Blind eyes. One man was out trimming his hedges, slicing clean through a flower that hissed and bled before it crumbled to ash. He didn't flinch. Whistled as he moved on. The town was blooming. And only Amanda remembered what that meant. By sunset, the sky had deepened to muscle red. Amanda returned home, exhausted, her thoughts spooling out like tangled string. Daisy met her at the door. Silent, alert. They sat together in the living room while Amanda scrolled through her phone. Social media was dead. News sites unresponsive. Messages to Maya still unread. She opened the voice memo app. Pressed record. July 15th. Coldwater is changing. No one sees it. No one remembers. There are flowers now, with teeth. I think they're eating something beneath the soil. She paused, glanced at the mirror across the room. Her reflection was gone. She hit stop. The next morning, there was a package on her porch. No return address. She opened it slowly. Inside, a cassette tape. Old, labeled only. Harvest 3 days. And below it, a flower. One she hadn't seen before. It had no teeth. No petals. Just a single eye blinking slowly in the center. Amanda dropped the box. It shuddered as it hit the ground. The flower rolled onto the floor and hissed. Then began to sing. A lullaby. Her lullaby. One her mother used to hum, but never sang aloud. She picked up the flower with tongs. Threw it into the sink. Poured bleach. Boiling water. Set the cassette tape on fire in the fireplace. watched the plastic bubble and crack. Then, a voice spoke from the flames. You can't kill what you were meant to become. Amanda turned back toward Daisy. The dog growled. Not at Amanda, but at something behind her. Amanda looked and saw it. The door. The front door of the house. The original house. Just standing in her living room. Tall, slightly ajar. Humming. Behind it, fog. And a single word written on the threshold. Reap. Amanda didn't touch the handle at first. She stood just beyond its reach, watching as the door quietly breathed in and out. Not with sound, but with presence. Like it was remembering how to be part of her world again. She knelt, touched the floor. The base of the door wasn't rooted in the house. It had no frame, no hinges, just would press through nothing, like it had grown out of the floor. Behind her, Daisy whimpered. Amanda turned and gave her a soft whisper. Not this time. She opened the door. Fog rushed out. Not thick, thin and sharp like smoke cut with glass. Amanda stepped through. The door shut behind her and didn't disappear. The hallway stretched forward like a throat. This wasn't the house, she remembered. It was narrower, tighter. The wallpaper pulsed, stitched together with dental floss and veins. Doors lined the corridor, dozens of them, each slightly ajar, as if someone had rushed out moments ago. She peeked into the first one. A girl sat on the edge of a bed, brushing her hair. But her reflection in the vanity didn't move. The reflection was smiling, teeth too large for its mouth, stretching her cheeks in every direction. Amanda stepped back. The girl never noticed her. She moved on. Second room. A man at a typewriter. Blood dripping from his ears, still typing. On the page, the same sentence repeated over and over. I will forget her name. Each line ended in a smear. Then an eye, drawn with thumbprints. Amanda left that room too. Door 3 was worse. She didn't go into that one. No one should. As she moved forward, the humming began. Not mechanical, not musical. It came from the floorboards, from the grain of the wood, as though the very matter of the house was alive and thinking. And then the doors started to close behind her. One by one. No wind, no pressure, just decision. The house was watching and choosing. After the 13th door, Amanda stopped counting. The hallway began to narrow. Ceiling dropping, floor tilting. She crawled, clawed, until the walls finally opened up again into a circular room. She knew it instantly. The heart, but different now. Not a playroom, not a throne. A garden, lush, pulsing, glowing softly. And every flower had a face. She recognized them. The missing, Maya, Tommy, the others, all blooming in silence, their mouths opening and closing slowly in sync, as if trying to breathe together. Amanda stepped carefully into the garden. The petals didn't react until she whispered, I'm sorry. Then they all turned toward her. In perfect unison, their roots pulled free from the soil. They hovered, and the voice came from all of them. You didn't bring us home. You brought home to us. Amanda dropped to her knees. Tell me how to undo it. The garden pulsed once. And from behind the tallest flower, the stitched girl stepped forward. Older now, no longer bleeding, no longer masked. Her eyes were mirrors, and Amanda saw herself in both. I never left, the girl said. You just forgot what part of you I was. Amanda reached for her, and the girl handed her something. A mirror, the original, unbroken. On its surface, a single phrase appeared. Open the door again. Amanda whispered, Where? The girl smiled. Everywhere. The flower screamed, and Amanda fell backward into the mirror and landed back in her living room. Daisy barking, the front door gone, but scratched into the floorboards beneath her. Last chance. Tomorrow. Reap or root. Choose. It was the kind of morning that didn't feel like one. No blue sky. No gold light. Just white. Flat, endless white. Amanda stepped out of her house and immediately noticed it. There were no shadows. Not from her. Not from Daisy. Not from the trees or houses or the power lines above. Everything looked unfinished, as if the sun had stopped deciding which direction to shine. Daisy growled low, ears pinned back. She wouldn't leave the porch. Amanda walked alone. The streets of Coldwater were full, but silent. People moved like normal, walking dogs, carrying groceries, watering lawns. But their footsteps made no sound, and none of them blinked. Their eyes were too wide, their gaits too smooth. They turned to Amanda as she passed, one by one, as if their heads were pulled by string. She tried waving to someone, a boy she recognized from down the street. He smiled. Blood ran from his nose. And then he walked through the hedge beside him like it wasn't there. The town was glitching, and Amanda could feel it happening faster now. Fractures beneath the surface. Chalk drawings appearing on sidewalks and vanishing moments later. Mailboxes humming lullabies. A dog sitting at the end of a driveway, speaking in a child's voice. We're already roots. You just haven't bloomed yet. She turned and ran. The church was open again. Same cracked altar. Same dust. Same trapdoor, now pulsing softly in the floor. Amanda stood above it, breathing hard. Her palms itched. She peeled off her gloves. Both hands were covered in thin, spiraling lines. Like vines. Like veins. The house was in her. She didn't go down this time. She looked up. Above the altar, the stained glass window had changed. No longer a cross. Now it showed a door. Open. And something standing inside it. Not a person. Not a monster. Just a void in the shape of choice. Amanda understood. There wasn't going to be a final battle. There was only a decision. Reap or root. Let the town die with its lies and walls intact. Forget everything again. Or let it bloom completely. Let the house come through her fully. Let it remake Coldwater into what it always was. A mouth that devours the past. She walked home. Lights flickered overhead, but no sound came with them. Daisy met her at the door, trembling. Amanda sat on the floor, opened the last envelope that had appeared on her windowsill that morning. Inside, a tooth. Her own, from years ago. She recognized the chip on the edge. Wrapped in a note. Tonight, you'll remember the door that never closed. And beneath that, one last sentence. We were never trying to keep you in. We were trying to keep everything else out. At 3:13 a.m., Amanda sat in her yard, waiting. The fog rolled in, thicker this time, from every direction. And at its center, rising slowly from the earth, the house returned. But not like before. Not alone. It was followed by others. Dozens. Hundreds. Each shaped differently. Each humming the same tune. Some familiar. Some impossible. One with windows made of mouths. Another with a chimney shaped like a spine. One entirely upside down. The door opened. And this time, she stepped in without looking back. The first step felt like stepping into fog. The second felt like stepping out of a story and into the space between books. The space where things are written but not told. Amanda stood inside a hallway with no floor. She didn't fall. The walls were stitched together from photographs. Not of her, not of people, but of houses. Every house she'd ever passed as a child. Every motel she'd slept in. Every building with creaking floors and strange drafts. The hallway was lined with memories of thresholds. And each one whispered as she walked past. You've entered me before. You just don't remember leaving. She reached a junction. For hallways diverging in perfect symmetry. Above each, a name, hand-painted in different languages and scripts. One read, Whisper Pines. Another, Blackmouth, Kentucky. Another still, St. Ainsley's Orphanage decommissioned. And the last, Room 0, Prototype Seed. Amanda stood still. Something pulled her toward Whisper Pines, familiar, magnetic. But she turned toward Room 0. The air was colder. Inside, a single room. Square. White tile walls. In the center, a child's desk. Empty, except for a list printed in typewriter font. Known survivors. Amanda K. Harrow. Maya Tran missing. Tommy M. Unsorted. Eleanor Wren. Caleb Vine. Alpha Point 2 rooted. Status. Connection incomplete. Amanda stared at the names. She didn't know the others. Yet, she touched her name. The wall behind her split open. No sound. Just separation. A new room revealed. This one full of doors, each labeled not by name, but by emotion. Regret, shame, love, hunger, guilt, repetition, and one at the end, unmarked. She opened repetition. Inside, a child played with blocks. Again and again, stacking the same three. Every time they fell, she cried. Every time, she began again. Amanda stepped closer. The girl turned. Her face was Amanda's, but burned, melted from the mouth down. The girl said, "You keep trying to leave, but you never stop coming back." Amanda backed out, closed the door, hands shaking. She opened guilt. Inside, the church basement. But this time, Maya lay across the altar, cut open, eyes still blinking, a flower blooming from her chest, made of teeth. Amanda screamed. The room folded in on itself. She ran to the unmarked door, threw it open, and found a room filled with mirrors. Every surface reflective, each mirror showing a version of herself in a different house. One climbing stairs made of skin, one screaming into a phone with no cord, one lying in bed, pretending to be asleep while the house whispered to her. Amanda fell to her knees. It wasn't one house. It was a system, a network, a species. Each house was a mouth, each room a memory cell. And Amanda, she had been inoculated, carved and rewired to carry it further. That's why she'd survived. That's why it followed her. She was a carrier. And now, the doors were all open. Amanda stood. A reflection of herself stepped forward from a mirror, not to attack, to embrace her. Together, they whispered, "We can't burn it down, but we can choose where the next seed is planted." Amanda smiled, finally understanding. She had to build one of her own. Amanda stood in the mirror room, staring at the reflection that wasn't just hers. It was all the versions of her. The scared child, the silent teen, the forgetful adult, all survivors, all seeds, and all finally aligned. The mirror behind her pulsed once, then dissolved into mist. What stood behind it wasn't a hallway. It was a workshop. Long tables, blueprints scattered across parchment, vials of teeth and ash. A drafting board lit from below, showing the frame of a house built on a spiral. It wasn't surreal. It was architectural, functional, intentional. She stepped in. The house, or network, or organism, had revealed its innermost room. The place where houses were born. Not brick and wood, but memory. It was where layout was dictated by trauma, where the pantry was built from hunger, the attic shaped by denial, the basement carved from shame, the stairs made from repetition, the act of climbing without ever arriving. Each blueprint on the table had a source file. Amanda picked one up, labeled Eleanor Wren // grade, C // origin, Lamb's Fall, NJ. It showed a floor plan shaped like a noose. Another blueprint, Caleb Vine // grade, B+ // origin, Widow's Ridge, OK. This one looped into itself. No exits. Then she saw it. Her own. Harrow, AK // grade, A- // origin. Whisper Pines activated. Amanda unrolled the plan. It looked like a normal home at first, until she looked closer. The windows weren't windows. They were watchers. The closet? Not a storage space. A mouth that could only open inward. And at the center of the home, a mirror well, deep and filled with versions of herself. One for each time she tried to forget something important. One for each time the house had grown teeth. The walls of the workshop began to change, shifting from concrete to softwood grain. The blueprints shimmered, then floated upward like ash in reverse. She turned. The reflection version of Amanda, the root self, was gone. In her place, a chair, facing a fresh drafting board. On it, a single piece of paper. Blank. Amanda sat down. The paper curled slightly at the edges. A pen rolled across the desk, on its own. She picked it up. The ink was already warm, as if it had a pulse. And Amanda began to draw. Not a house of fear. Not a trap. but a tether, a place to catch what had slipped through the cracks, to hold memories that didn't want to disappear. She drew a door that only opened when you asked the right question. She drew rooms shaped like old dreams, a kitchen that always smelled like a safe morning, a hallway that only led forward, and at the center, not a mirror, not a well, but a window, looking out at something real. The light in the room dimmed. A floor plan formed beneath her lines. The house was becoming. But this time she was the root. And she whispered, "I'll build it right. For the ones like me. The ones still stuck in the rooms they couldn't leave." Somewhere deep in the network, a bell rang. One soft chime. A new door opened. And far away, in a place not yet named, a child heard the sound and stepped through. The new house didn't grow like the others. It formed, deliberate, measured, a frame of choices, not instinct. Windows were installed not as eyes, but as openings, genuine ones, for light, not observation. The stairs creaked honestly, not as a warning. The attic was empty, the basement dry, the door painted blue. Nothing special, except it didn't hum. It waited. Amanda stood in the threshold for a long time before stepping inside. She hadn't designed it to hold fear, but she still carried her own. And as she crossed into the foyer, she felt it. A strange tension, like pressing into warm water. Her memories flickered. Not gone, not tampered, just acknowledged. The house didn't take them. It let her sort them. Room by room, Amanda explored what she had made. A hallway of lights that dimmed only when you close your eyes. A living room filled with frames, blank but warm to the touch. A study with a desk she had never owned, but that felt like hers. And upstairs, a bedroom where the walls breathed with her, in and out, gentle. In the corner of that room, a mirror. Ordinary. When she looked into it, she saw only herself. No echoes, no watchers, no house behind her. Just Amanda. Rooted. Still. For the first time in years, she wept. By the third day, the doorbell rang. Not with a scream or a whisper, just a single soft tone. Amanda opened the door. A girl stood on the porch. No more than 12, wearing an oversized sweater, holding a backpack with broken straps. Her voice was steady. "Is this the place?" Amanda nodded. "It can be." The girl stepped in. The air shifted, but not the way the old house had. No flicker, no devouring, just quiet acceptance. Like the house said, "Welcome." The girl slept in the guest room that night. Amanda sat by the fire. She didn't need to ask how the girl had found her. She already knew. The same way Amanda had found the original house. The same way Maya had drawn its rooms from dreams. Some people weren't haunted. Some people were designed to find, to carry, to plant. The difference now? Amanda had built a place where they could stop. Over the next week, more arrived. A boy with burn scars and a book of shadows. A man who hadn't slept in 5 years. A woman who'd spent a decade talking to corners. Each one entered the blue house without resistance. Each one left something behind, a photo, a story, a drawing. And the house took it, not to hide it, not to use it, just to hold it. So they didn't have to. One night, Amanda stood in the yard. Above her, the stars were still wrong. But closer than ever, the houses across the network still existed. She felt them, humming beyond the veil. Some hungry, some weeping, some curious. But they hadn't breached her design, because her house didn't reject them. It simply refused to mimic. She walked back inside, closed the door, and scratched 3 words into the underside of the threshold. "You are home." Amanda kept a journal now. Not of the house, but of the people who came. She never asked them to share, but when they did, she listened. And she wrote. Each name became a page. Each page became a map. Not of where they'd been, but what they'd escaped. A boy who spoke in numbers no one understood. A girl who forgot her birthday every year, but remembered someone else's funeral. A mother who kept trying to put food out for a child who had never been born. These weren't delusions. These were echoes of the house, of its other branches. The network might be fractured, but its tendrils still reached. It started again on the 21st night, a chill in the hallway that hadn't been there before. The guest room door slightly ajar. Inside, mirrors. Amanda hadn't put them there, but the room now had three, one on each wall, all fogged, and one whispered when she walked in. Not aloud, it hissed in her head. You took our route. Now we want yours. Amanda smashed the mirrors, but they bled instead of breaking. A thick, dark fluid like ink and sap, warm and bitter smelling. She backed away, hand to her chest. The house moaned once, not in pain, but in warning. It hadn't summoned them. They found a crack. She tore open the crawl space beneath the foundation. It wasn't normal anymore. Thin threads of white root pushed through the soil, pulsing faintly. Some were familiar. Some weren't hers. Amanda touched one. A vision flashed. Maya, standing in the fog, surrounded by houses, calling her name again and again, and something behind Maya answering in Amanda's voice. Amanda yanked her hand away. She backed out and sealed the crawl space. She turned to Daisy, asleep by the fire. The dog stirred, looked at her, and said, in a perfect imitation of Maya's voice, Amanda, they're tracing you. Amanda dropped to her knees. The air bent. A pressure built in her temples. She crawled to the kitchen, opened a drawer she'd never touched before. Inside, a single key, brass, warm, carved with a symbol she hadn't seen since the mirror room. 3 spirals interlocked. On the tag, room 0, forward only. She turned to Daisy, now sitting unnaturally still. The dog's head tilted. Blank. Amanda whispered, I think it's time to burn something. Daisy's ears perked up, tail wagged, and she barked for the first time in days. That night, Amanda wrote one final name in the journal. Amanda K. Harrow. Then closed the book, packed it in a bag, and opened the hidden door behind the fireplace. She hadn't built it. It had simply appeared the night she made her house. She had left it closed. Until now. She stepped through, and as the door shut behind her, the blue house whispered, Keep going. They're watching from the other side. The hallway behind the fireplace was narrow. Stone on either side. No wires. No fixtures. No sound. Amanda moved carefully, hand on the cool wall, Daisy padding silently behind her. She had expected rot. Instead, the stone was smooth, too smooth, as if it had been poured from thought. The farther she went, the warmer it got, until finally, the tunnel widened into a chamber. And at the center of that chamber, a door. Not made of wood, not glass. It looked like pressed ash, like someone had burned hundreds of journals and compressed the remains into something that could keep time out. On it, the symbol. 3 spirals, one broken. Above it, etched words. Room 0, forward only. No undoing, no forgetting, no symmetry. Amanda reached into her pocket, pulled out the brass key. The moment it touched the lock, the door shivered and opened. The space beyond wasn't a room. It was a slice of the network, raw, unmoderated. Amanda stood on a suspended path, barely wide enough for her feet, stretching through a void of black branches and memory strings. Everywhere around her, houses, fragments of them, a kitchen without walls, a staircase that led into fire, a window that opened to screaming wind, and floating in the space between others. Versions of her, versions of others like her, each frozen mid-action, a woman dragging her own past behind her like a bag of glass, a boy with a key buried in his chest, a figure with no face, only a mouth repeating, too late, too late, too late. Amanda moved forward. 1 step, then 2, then more. Behind her, the path vanished. No going back. She'd always known that. The path ended at a mirror. Huge, floating. And behind it, someone waited. Not a monster. Not a ghost. A girl, 13 years old, wearing Amanda's old soccer jersey. Mouth sewn shut, eyes wide open. Amanda approached, and the mirror split open. Inside, a replica of her childhood bedroom. Perfect, down to the bent corner of the poster over her bed. And sitting on a mattress, Maya, not the Maya she knew. A copy, pale, still. She looked up, and in her voice came 2 voices at once. You were never meant to be the builder. You were the bait. Amanda stepped back. No. Yes, the room answered. You brought them. You opened the first door. You reopened the core. You sang into the root. And now, the house around them shifted, revealing hundreds of doors behind Maya, all labeled with names Amanda recognized. Tommy, Eleanor, Caleb, Maya, Amanda, 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 Amanda. They weren't doors. They were traps. The house hadn't given her a gift. It had given her the job. She screamed, not in fear, in rage. Amanda reached down, grabbed the mirror shard still hanging from her neck, and drove it into the floor. The illusion shattered. The room burned away, and the voice screamed with her. You don't get to say no. You were planted. Amanda stood tall. I was planted, she whispered. But I grew differently. The void around her collapsed. The spiral twisted inward. Amanda held on to Daisy, closed her eyes, and opened them on the other side. Back in her real house. Back in Coldwater. And now, the house was humming again. But not with hunger. With waiting. On the wall, a new door. Blue. No handle. Just an inscription. One more. It didn't open at first. The blue door sat in the hallway, just beyond Amanda's bedroom. A wall that hadn't been there yesterday. A passage that shouldn't exist, but did now, like it had been waiting for permission. There was no handle. No hinges. Just paint. And that inscription burned in instead of written. One more. Not a command. Not an invitation. A sentence. Like an echo left behind after a long scream. Amanda didn't try to open it. Not yet. She sat across from it for hours. Daisy slept at her feet, restless. Outside, the world was still, the town frozen in an eerie hush. The fog hadn't returned. No houses in the sky. No whispers. Just a door. Breathing. At 3:13 a.m., it opened. No sound. No wind. Just a soft, velvet shift, as though the house exhaled after holding its breath for years. Amanda stood, took one step forward. The hallway behind her vanished. Inside was nothing. Not blackness. Not light. Just the sensation of inside. The way a thought feels before you have the words for it. She blinked and saw a version of her mother standing across the room. Not young. Not old. Not alive. She was humming that same old tune, the one Amanda had heard in the first mirror room. The lullaby that had no name. Amanda spoke softly. You're not her. The woman smiled. No, but I'm what you needed, and what you still fear. Amanda clenched her fists. What is this room? The end. Of the house. No. Of me? No. Then what? The end of running. The room shifted. Now a hallway. Now a hospital room. Now a classroom. Now the church basement. Now her own kitchen. And finally, a field. The one where the house first appeared. Amanda stood in the tall grass. Only it wasn't grass now. It was hair. Endless. Blowing in a wind that didn't exist. And underneath it, the ground thumped like a slow, angry heart. The sky bent inward. A mouth opened in the distance. No teeth. Just void. The house's true shape. Not a building. Not a trap. A question. And Amanda had only one answer left to give. She stepped forward and whispered, I am not your seed. The world cracked. The house shattered. Not violently, like ice warming too fast. Everything Amanda had carried, her memories, her pain, her roles, unhooked. For one breathless moment, she felt nothing. Not emptiness. Not freedom. Just her. She woke on her living room floor. The blue door was gone. The house was silent. Daisy rested beside her. The windows glowed with normal light, yellow, gold, soft. On the wall, a note, handwritten in looping script she didn't recognize. No more rooms. No more roots. Just this. You made it out. Don't go back. Amanda smiled. Tears came without pain, and she walked out into the morning. Coldwater looked the same, but nothing watched her anymore. 3 weeks passed. No new doors. No whispers. No fog. Amanda lived like someone learning to breathe underwater, cautious, disoriented, but very much alive. She cooked. She swept. She read books that didn't rearrange themselves when she blinked. The blue house stayed quiet, but she noticed something strange. Each morning, one object in the house would be out of place. A book she hadn't opened placed on the table. A chair turned to face a window. A cabinet door ajar with nothing inside. Small things. Manageable. Until the mirror in the hallway changed. It didn't show her anymore. Not exactly. It showed her house. But empty. Completely. No Amanda. No Daisy. No lights. And on the wall behind her reflection. You left something behind. She blinked. The message was gone. But from then on, the mirror watched. It didn't hum. Didn't shimmer. But every time Amanda passed, she felt it twitch. A microsecond delay in her reflection. The same delay the first house's mirror had. She ran her hands along the wall behind it. No seams. No passage. Just drywall and dust. But she knew what was happening. Something, or someone, had come with her from room 0. Not the house. Not the network. A ghost. Not of a person. A possibility. That night, Amanda sat in the guest room. Alone. No one had stayed since she'd walked back. She stared at the ceiling for hours until finally whispering. What did I leave? No answer. Just the quiet groan of the walls settling. But when she opened her eyes again, the ceiling was gone. Above her, sky. Not real sky. Network sky. Full of mouths and shapes that never quite formed. Amanda sat up. The room was now a shell. Still shaped like her house. But hollow. Unstable. And in the corner, a figure stood. Not moving. Not breathing. Its face was obscured. Not by shadow, but by potential. It was her. Not past. Not future. The version that had said yes instead of no. The version that stayed in the spiral. Amanda didn't scream. She stood, faced it, and said, "You're not real." The figure tilted its head. "Neither are you, if you leave this alone." Amanda stepped forward, but the space between them didn't shrink. The figure didn't chase. It only whispered one word. Soon, and vanished. She woke on the guest room floor. Ceiling intact. Daisy at her feet. The mirror in the hallway was cracked. Only a little, like someone had pressed their forehead against it hard. Amanda exhaled and wrote one line in her journal. I didn't bring it back, but I left the door open, and now something's found its way in. The knocking started just after midnight. 3 soft taps on the wall beside her bed. Not loud, not aggressive. Measured. Amanda sat up instantly. Daisy did too. Ears perked, head low, tail rigid. The sound came again. Tap, tap, tap. Exactly 3. Always 3. Always from the inside. She followed it. Hands trembling. Not from fear, exactly, but from something sharper. Recognition. It didn't move like a haunting. It moved like a message. She pressed her ear to the wall. Silence. She waited. 10 seconds. Then, tap, tap, tap. Right next to her ear. Amanda backed away. The wall was cool. Smooth. Just like before. Just like the first hallway she'd walked into all those chapters ago. The walls had changed shape for her. Now, they were trying to speak. She went to the basement. It was dry, normal, empty. She hadn't touched it since the blue door vanished. The air tasted like dust and time. She scanned every wall. Found nothing. Until she turned off the light. Then, on the far wall, a glow. Dim, circular. A door frame burned faintly under the surface of the paint. It didn't show in light, only in dark. And carved around it, in a perfect spiral, the same phrase repeated in different languages, over and over. There is nothing behind this door. English, Russian, Mandarin, Braille, something older than any of them. Amanda exhaled. Hard, because that's exactly what the house had always done. Lied poetically. She didn't open it. She left the basement, turned on every light in the house, and sat in the middle of the living room with a knife and a flashlight. Nothing happened until the phone rang. She hadn't had service in days. She picked it up. No number. Just a blank screen. She answered. A voice, low and steady, said, "You made a room that doesn't want to be alone anymore." Amanda whispered, "Who are you?" No answer. Just one sound, 3 taps, and then silence. The next day, the glow was gone. No sign of a door. But Amanda noticed something worse. All the journals she'd written, the ones about the people who'd come and gone, were blank. Empty. Every page. All 243 of them. The ink hadn't faded. It had never been there. As if none of them had existed. As if the house had edited the truth. Amanda stared at the books. Her throat dry. Then she walked to her desk drawer, pulled out the shard of mirror she'd kept hidden, and for the first time in weeks, she looked directly into it. Her reflection smiled, but her face did not. The mirror whispered, "If there's nothing behind the door, why is it knocking?" Amanda didn't remember building a room behind the kitchen, but it was there, past the pantry, tucked behind a door she could have sworn used to lead to the water heater. Now, it was a hallway, short, tiled, dimly lit by a bulb that buzzed even when unscrewed. Amanda stood at its threshold. Daisy refused to follow. She barked once, then backed away, hackles raised. That was all Amanda needed to know. The hallway was wrong. The proportions made her nauseous, too tall, too narrow. The floor sloped up and down at the same time. The bulb flickered in Morse code. She recognized that now. Not a hum, a language. She didn't translate it. She didn't want to know what it said. At the end of the hallway was a room. Bare walls. No windows. One table. One chair. And on the table a box. Blue. Old. Locked with no latch. Just a wax seal marked with a spiral. Amanda touched it. The wax melted instantly. No heat. Just recognition. She opened the box. Inside, a cassette labeled, "Do not remember." A torn photo of herself, asleep, with someone standing behind her, faceless, blurred, and a page from her journal that she never wrote. I opened the door. I let the version of me in, the one who never left room 0. I thought I could keep her behind the mirror, but she moved faster than me, spoke better, ate quieter. Now I'm a guest in my own house, and I think she's writing these entries. Amanda froze. Read again. The handwriting was hers, but the voice? Not quite. Behind her, the bulb exploded. Darkness. The hallway vanished. She was no longer in the blue house. She was somewhere deeper, somewhere older. The air pressed against her skin like memory foam, adapting around her body, accepting her shape. She screamed, but the scream didn't echo. It repeated, exactly the same, over and over, like a recording. Then the voice came. "This is the forgotten room. The house didn't build it. You did." Amanda spun. The walls folded inward, becoming mirrors. Dozens. Hundreds. Each one showed a version of the house. Burning, rotting, thriving, empty. But all had one thing in common. In each, Amanda stood just outside the front door. Never going in. Just watching. Forever. A screen lowered from the ceiling. Old and crackling. Like a film reel had just started. A message played, white text on black. "In the event you forgot who you were, play the tape." Amanda clutched the cassette tighter. The label, "Do not remember." She whispered, "What happens if I do?" From all the mirrors, her voice answered back. "Then we both find out who built the house first." The mirrors shattered. The door reopened. Amanda stood in her hallway again. But now the walls were damp, and a trail of wet footprints led from the front door to her bedroom. Only one pair. Bare feet. Small. She wasn't alone anymore. The footprints led to the bedroom. Left, right, left, perfectly aligned. Each one precise. Each one still wet. Amanda followed. Daisy stayed behind, growling low, not in warning, but in recognition. The bedroom door was open. Just a crack. A cold breeze passed through, despite every window in the house being sealed. Amanda reached for the knob, paused, then pushed it open. She saw herself sitting on the edge of the bed. Same clothes, same posture, but her skin looked thinner, like paper left in the rain, and her eyes too wide, too focused. Amanda said nothing at first. She just watched. The other Amanda smiled without teeth. "Finally," she whispered. Amanda stepped closer. "You're not real." The other Amanda nodded. "No, I'm remembered." She stood, perfectly in sync. Same height, same scars, same history. But Amanda could feel it. This one never escaped. This was the Amanda who stayed in the house. Who let it fill her? Who became part of it? The version Room Zero had warned about. Why are you here? Amanda asked. The other Amanda tilted her head gently. I didn't come here. You brought me. Amanda's hands curled into fists. No, I burned the mirrors. I closed every door. The other Amanda took a step forward. Not all of them. You forgot about the ones made of memory. Amanda backed away. The mirror on the far wall began to hum. Her reflection was both of them now, flickering between versions. The other Amanda walked slowly toward it, placing one hand on the glass. It rippled. I can go back, she whispered, but not for free. Amanda hesitated. What do you want? Other Amanda turned. Eyes hollow, but not empty. I want you to stop pretending you're healed. Silence. Even the air went still. Amanda said nothing, because there was nothing to say. The house didn't just contain trauma. It remembered it. It copied it. And Amanda, for all her escape, had never let it go. She had archived it, curated it, written it down, preserved it, because forgetting was never the goal. But now the version who never forgot, never moved forward, was asking for release. The mirror cracked, not shattered, just fractured like frozen water beginning to melt. Amanda stepped forward, faced herself. I don't want you in my house, she said softly. Other Amanda nodded. You don't need to banish me. You just need to let me stop speaking. She stepped back into the mirror. The reflection faded. And Amanda? She finally exhaled. The room dimmed. Soft golden light returned. The wet footprints dried instantly. Daisy patted in, cautious. Amanda smiled and sat on the bed. I'm still me, she whispered. The house didn't reply. It didn't need to. It just settled. And on the mirror, just before the fog faded, Amanda saw one final phrase etched in reverse. You are whole enough to keep going. The knock came just after sunset. 3 times. Amanda opened the door slowly. No fog. No whispering. No flicker of unreality. Just a man. Early 40s. Leather jacket. Eyes like rusted nails. Sharp, sunken, restless. He said nothing at first. Then, I heard this place doesn't ask questions. Amanda didn't smile. Didn't invite him in. She simply stepped aside. The man crossed the threshold. The air shifted, subtle. Not wrong. Not yet. But heavier. He introduced himself only as Rook. No first name. No hometown. Amanda asked where he came from. He said, everywhere I shouldn't have. And nothing more. She gave him the guest room. The house didn't react. Not with hums. Not with mirrors. It waited. For the first 2 days, Rook was silent. Didn't touch much. Didn't explore. He slept during the day and walked the halls at night. Amanda would wake at 3:13 a.m., not because of dreams, but because he was awake, standing in the kitchen, staring out windows. One night, he asked, did you build this place to keep things out, or to keep them in? Amanda didn't answer. She didn't know. On the 4th night, Daisy wouldn't go near the guest room. She barked and scratched at the wall. Not the door, the wall. Amanda pressed her hand to it. Cold, then suddenly warm. And she heard it. Not Rook. Not the house. Children. Whispering on the other side of the wall. He doesn't belong. But he never left. He's wearing a room. Amanda staggered back. Daisy whimpered. The next morning, Rook was gone. Not his stuff. Just him. The bed untouched. The window closed. Amanda found no footprints. But in the shower drain, something lodged. She pulled it out with gloves. A doorknob. Old. Corroded. The same spiral carved into the brass. Attached to it, a tag. Art class. Wanderer // never rooted. Amanda stared at it for a long time. The house hummed low. An uneasy sound. That night, she rechecked the guest room. Found something tucked beneath the mattress. A notebook. Not hers. Rook's handwriting was jagged, like someone who'd written while the walls were breathing. Only one entry was complete. I've stayed in every kind of house. Ones that scream. Ones that bite. Ones that eat your name. This one is different. It doesn't trap you. It makes you stay by making you feel safe. That's the worst kind of prison for people like me. I'm not afraid of the door opening again. I'm afraid it never will. Amanda put the notebook in a drawer. She didn't burn it, didn't hide it, just kept it, because she knew what he meant. Even freedom can become a cage when you start believing you're safe, especially when you're not. The next day, a new knock. A child this time. No parents. No explanation. Just tired eyes and a single word. Please. Amanda stepped aside again. This time, the house hummed softly in agreement. But in the guest room, the doorknob was gone, and no one remembered Rook had ever been there, except Amanda and Daisy, and the mirror that now showed 3 shadows instead of 2. The boy's name was Ellis, 9 years old. Didn't say much. Didn't sleep much either. He wouldn't enter the guest room. Amanda didn't blame him. So she made a new space, a small nook under the stairs, fitted with pillows, a soft light, and a blanket that had never belonged to anyone else. The house accepted it. Even Daisy approved. But after 2 nights, the nook grew longer. By itself. Not wider, just deeper. Amanda measured it. 7 feet. Then 10. Then 13. It curved slightly, almost unnoticeably, like it was reaching for something. Ellis noticed too. He asked, "Why does it want me to keep walking?" Amanda answered carefully, "Because it remembers the part of you that used to live here." That night, Amanda dreamed of the basement again. The hidden door glowed faintly, but now it had a handle, one she didn't recognize. It pulsed like a heartbeat. She woke gasping. The walls were wet, not from water, from memory. Photographs of places she'd never been began appearing beneath the paint. A hallway with red carpet, a motel room missing a ceiling, a school built without exits. Amanda ran her fingers along them, and her fingertips came back bloody. Not hers, not human. House blood, memory blood, the kind that grows when a story gets retold too many times. Ellis came to her that morning holding something odd. A room key, old-fashioned, brass, worn, warm to the touch. The tag read, "Room 3, the one you forgot." He looked at her. "I didn't find it." Amanda stared. "Where was it?" Ellis shrugged. "It was in my mouth when I woke up." That night, Amanda opened the hallway closet. It was a closet yesterday. Now, a hallway. One she didn't build. It smelled like her childhood, summer, sweat, and disappointment. She walked in. At the end, a door. The key fit perfectly. Room 3. Inside was a version of her kitchen, but broken. Countertops sloped down. Knives too sharp. Fridge buzzing like bees trapped inside. And at the table sat a man, reading a newspaper with no print. His voice was calm. Funny, isn't it? Amanda stayed silent. He continued, "How the rooms know more than the people do." She took a step forward. "Who are you?" He looked up. His face was almost familiar, but not enough to name. "I'm who used to live in the story you replaced." Amanda's breath caught. "You're not part of me." "No," he said. "I'm part of what came before you. I was the prototype." She staggered back. "You're lying." He folded the paper. Stood. Too tall. Too still. "You think the house began with you? You think you were the first to survive it." The light flickered. Walls turned translucent. Hundreds of blueprints surfaced. All failed. All labeled. Discarded Amandus. She turned to run. But room 3 didn't have a door anymore. Only mirrors. And every mirror showed her reflection crying. Every one. Except one. That one smiled. She punched through it. Shards fell like raindrops. And she landed on the stairwell, back in her house. Daisy barking. Ellis gone. Amanda screamed his name. No response. Just 3 wet footprints by the nook. And a note taped to the wall. "I remember what I forgot." He says thank you. No signature. But the key was still in her hand. Amanda didn't search for Ellis. She knew where he'd gone. Not into danger. Not into fear. But into memory. Into his room. The one the house had made for him. Just like it had made one for her. Not to trap him. Not even to test him. To hold him. Until he remembered enough to leave on his own. She spent the next 3 days closing every door in the house. Literally. and metaphysically, she unplugged mirrors, painted over thin spots in the air, burned blueprints she hadn't written. The house watched, but it didn't resist, because even it knew this version of Amanda was no longer editable. In the attic, where she'd never dared to go, Amanda found a single item, a box labeled Root Seed 0A Harrow. Inside, a strip of film, black and white, a recording of the first night she came to Coldwater. Except she wasn't alone. In the film, she held someone's hand, but no one was beside her. The film lit, or told the truth she'd forgotten. Either way, Amanda understood now. The house didn't create trauma. It just remembered what others tried to erase. That night, she packed one bag, wrote a note for whoever found the place next. This house was made by a girl who survived the wrong way. She carried too much. Told herself it was healing. It wasn't, but it kept others safe. For a while. That's enough. She left the key in the door, taped a photo of Daisy to the wall, lit a single candle, and walked out. Outside, the sky was quiet, stars sharp and real again. The fog didn't follow her. The whispers didn't trail her steps. Because for the first time since Chapter 1, Amanda was not a carrier. She was just a woman with a story she no longer owed to a house. She walked until Coldwater disappeared behind her, until the road ended. And there, in the stillness of nowhere, a field of flowers waited. None had teeth. None could speak. Just wildflowers, growing out of dirt, not blood. Amanda lay down between them, not to rest, to root, by choice. And far behind her in the blue house, a new knock at the door, gentle, hopeful, a child's voice. Is this where the safe people go? Inside, the house hummed softly and opened.